Is it a case of just sort of having to claw back too much, or were there specifics that you saw sort of game wide throughout the game that are a concern?
No, I thought the competitive disposition was certainly higher tonight. Um, there were a lot of probably 5 or 6 important skirmishes during the course of the game. Uh, we won a couple of them, but every time we won, you know, uh, those swing moments, they came back and were able to get, some separation, either a 7-point or 10-point lead. Uh, and then, that just became a little bit too much separation on that last skirmish, uh, at the end. This was much different than game one. We were way more active, way more of a disposition. I think this game and disposition that we brought tonight probably would have won game one. But that's the way it goes. We have to continue, to work at it and get better. I think we forced a lot more turnovers. I think this is back-to-back, games. I think in Chicago, fourth quarter, we held them to 20 points. Tonight, 22. That just has to be a lot more consistent. You're not going to do that every quarter, obviously, against very good teams, but you get a couple quarters like that, sustain it, be a little bit more consistent with it. That certainly would put us in a better position.
What did you see?
Plus,
What did you see in those stretches? Sorry.
plus minus usually doesn't tell much of anything, but plus 20 with Bam, minus 27 without him. That when he got his fourth, he had the tech too. I mean, did you feel like that took the wind out of the sails a little bit?
No. Him getting his fourth foul certainly did. I think the first foul, which I didn't think was a foul, like those things add up, and then he ended up missing some minutes in the first half. That's the way it goes sometimes. Him getting the tech, I think that was kind of inconsequential. It was more the play that got us into the hole, and that swing moment. But him being in foul trouble. I think 2 of the calls were tough calls, but we overcame. A lot of different circumstances throughout the course of the game, and our pressure, our activity, the deflections, forcing turnovers was much better than in game one, and we weren't able to get over the hump and get the job done, but we just have to stay the course. There's definitely improvement from game one to game two. We're not looking for moral victories or anything like that, but we're looking for progress, ultimately, hopefully to lead to wins, and that's what we'll focus on for tomorrow night.
It's only been 2 games, but the 3-point attempts have been down these first 2. Have you seen anything that's kind of contributed to that, or is it just a case of small?
No, not necessarily. I think in the last game, the turnovers had a lot to do with it. I think this game, more schematics. The way Boston defends, there's not going to be a ton of them open. It's a big strength of ours, but you have to do whatever you have to do against really good teams. And I think, there was some swing moments also where we were defending at a high level, and then more importantly, it wasn't necessarily about the 3 balls, more importantly about quality shots. And there was some moments in the game, where we got it to 4 and we didn't get the ball where it needed to go, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's 10 points.
You mentioned those 4 fouls for Bam. Those stretches at the end of the first and third quarters really where the game got separated. Beyond him just not being on the court, what changed there in terms of what Boston was doing or what you weren't doing that spun things in their direction?
Yeah, they went to a little bit of a hybrid lineup. Then they put their, either guards or wing players on Dedmon, and that kind of blew up some triggers. We're used to that playing against them, and we weren't quite as intentional offensively during those moments, and you pay for it. The margin for error against really good teams, like how we feel we are, and certainly Boston is as well, that if you're not intentional all the way through, that that can be costly, and it might not be a 15-3 run. It might just be a 7-1 run or something like that. And I think that happened, probably 2 or 3 times during the course of the game.
0 free throws for Jimmy Butler tonight. Was it a matter of shot selection or just an unfriendly whistle in terms of not being able to get the line?
There's a couple that we feel that could have been fouls. I'm sure they feel the same way. That's just kind of the way it went, tonight, and they did a great job of protecting the paint and trying to defend things 2-on-2 or versus their switches and stuff like that.
You mentioned Boston schematics kind of taking away the threes, and it led to kind of what looked like a postseason shot diet at times. Did you like how the guys, their approach to the shots that were available, and did you like the shots that you got?
For the most part, yes. But again, when you're facing a good defensive team, you have to be able to generate, whatever you generate, as long as you're getting the ball where it needs to go. That's the most important thing. And then your shot profile will be what it is. You trust your guys, to take the right shots and to make the right reads versus the coverages. Again, against a team like Boston, you're probably not going to score 140. So those swing possessions, are extremely important, getting the ball where it needs to go. And I think, there was a handful of possessions, in each of those quarters, at the end of the quarters, that we weren't quite as intentional as we could have been. Okay, thank you.